How would your professor describe you? My professor told me one time that I was like a fireball. I always had a good attitude that positively affected other students in group activities. During college, how'd you spend your summer vacations? My last 2 summers of college, I did an intern for a consulting firm. I gained experience working on office solutions for large companies. If you could learn something, such as a new skill, what would it be? The next thing I want to learn is how to make web pages. I think this skill can be used anywhere. If I want a personal website, I would make it myself. And if my group at work needed an internal website to organize activities, I would be able to make one. During your performance reviews, what criticism do you hear the most? My manager told me that I should send more updates. He told me I did my projects well and that I was never late, but he would like more updates so he can report to his manager. Tell me about your last 3 positions. I worked as a translator for the King County Courthouse. Afterwards, I worked as a translator for hospitals. My last position was translating help documents for a software company. Tell me about your last position. What did you do and how'd you do it? Include the people you worked for and the people you worked with. I was a staff auditor for a small accounting firm. I performed audits for small to medium-sized businesses. This involved meeting the clients and retrieving data required to complete the audit. I worked closely with my supervisor that presented my findings of the audit to the clients. What is your management philosophy? My management philosophy is to provide an environment that leads to productive employees. I achieve this through conflict management, keeping the morale high, providing encouragement to low performers, and also rewarding the strong performers. What was your favorite job? The last position I held was my favorite job. I really enjoy all aspects of accounting and auditing. However, I don't want to limit myself to just governmental accounting, so I want a position where I can be doing similar type of work, but in a larger setting. Tell me about the best manager you ever had. The best manager I had was during my first year at Microsoft. Since then, I had been under many different managers, but nobody matched up to his level. I respected him the most because of 2 reasons. He spent a great deal of time mentoring me and teaching me many work-related things. I became a great employee because of him. And second, he produced the greatest amount of quality work among all the other managers. I always wondered how he could spend so much time with me and still find ways to outperform other managers. But that is where I learned how to work smart and efficiently. He showed me how to be the best employee through his action and through the individual lessons he gave me. I was so happy to have had a great manager early in my career. Tell me about the worst manager you ever had. In my last position, I had a manager who didn't like to give instructions. I managed to figure a lot of it out, but I would have saved a lot of time if my manager gave a simple 5-minute overview on the project. What could you have done to improve your relationship with a manager you didn't like? If I communicated my problems earlier, I feel we both would have benefited. I waited several months before approaching my manager, and after our talk, our relationship got much better. So I could have improved my relationship by talking about problems sooner than later. What were the most memorable accomplishments in your last position? I remember the day I completed an audit from beginning to end all by myself. Since I was an entry-level auditor, this accomplishment really felt good because it was my first major step. Why do you want to leave your current job? I want to find a company with more opportunities. My previous company was very small and didn't have opportunities for growth. After learning about the work environment here, I felt this is exactly the type of place I want to work. Where did you tell your boss you were going? I wasn't really required to tell my boss because I used one of my vacation days to be here. I'm really excited to have this interview opportunity, and using a vacation day was very well worth it. Are you currently employed at the last place listed on your resume? No, I'm not currently employed. What's the title of the person you report to? What responsibility does he or she have? He was a sales manager. His duties included scheduling, customer support, and managing a group of 15 sales associates. In your previous position, how much time did you spend in meetings? In my last position, we had large projects that involved multiple people. We had meetings to discuss the project and worked in teams whenever it involved overlap of feature. After the meetings and working with the team, I was required to finish my work by myself, so it was quite balanced between meetings, teamwork, and working by myself. If you don't leave your current job, what do you imagine you will be doing in several years? I'm a very proactive person, and I'll continue to do my job well. I'll always look for opportunities and even create places where I can improve my work. I know if I continue to perform well, I'll have more opportunities to get promoted when a position opens. So hopefully in several years, I'll be managing people that are in my current position now. If you're happy with your current job, why do you want to leave? I like the work I'm doing, and I like everyone on my team, but I have a strong desire to learn other aspects I can't learn in my current position. If you're happy with your current job, why do you want to leave? I love to learn new things, and after several years in my current position, I realized I was doing the same thing over and over again most of the time. So the only reason I want to leave my current job is to broaden my knowledge by gaining other experiences. If you have problems or complaints with your current job, why haven't you brought it to their attention? After working the night shift for a couple of years, I wanted normal working hours. I told my manager about this, but there was no positions available for regular hour shifts. Give me a specific example at your last position where you made things more efficient. As a sales associate, I do my part in increasing revenue by making more sales. Even if I am having a good month, I continue to work hard to make sure our company is continually increasing its revenue. What do you feel an employer owes an employee? I believe an employer should provide an environment where everyone can succeed. I also believe that opportunities for growth and advancement should be provided by the employer. What do you expect from your manager? I expect my manager to provide work that is relevant to both the company and my growth. My manager should know my strengths and also help me work on my weaknesses. Would you like to have your boss's job? When I gain a little more experience, I'll be looking to find a position that is similar to my manager's job. But for now, I want to continue to learn as an employee while helping the company grow. What did you hear about us? I heard a lot of good things about ABC Company. I know this company provides financial services to small and medium-sized corporations. Specifically, ABC Company focuses on creating automation for routine financial transactions. Besides what the company provides, I heard that the office environment is great and the employees are well taken care of. What do you know about our product? There isn't much information about your products yet, but I heard you are creating new technology to create a more secure database. I worked with databases most of my career, and the thought of more security really interested me. Have you managed people in any of the positions you've held? I have 3 years of experience managing people. I managed a team from 3 people to a group of 10. Most of my duties as a manager was to make sure our projects were on track and that each employee was completing their work. What types of people do you have trouble getting along with? I'm very understanding of different people and different work styles, but I have a hard time with people who only do work that is seen by management. There's so much work that needs to be done, and not everything is seen by the manager, so I get upset when work is neglected. What types of people do you have trouble getting along with? I get along with almost everyone, but I think I have the hardest time tolerating people who think they are always right. Not everything is black and white, and many times there are multiple ways of doing something. In my last group, I had a coworker that believed his way was the correct way. That's fine, but when you try to explain another viewpoint, he doesn't listen, starts to talk louder, and he begins to think it's a debate. I avoided him for a while, but I realized I should put in an effort to deal with his personality. Who do you think are our two major competitors? The number one competitor to Verizon is Cingular. After they merged with AT&T, they became the largest cell phone provider with a 19% market control. The next competitor is Nextel. Although they only have 10% of the market, they are increasing in strength. Why do you like sales? I like sales because it fits my personality. I enjoy working with all sorts of people, and I like to provide great customer service by answering questions about products professionally. Do you see that stapler? Convince me to buy it. This stapler is the newest model with easier to use features such as quick loading and safety protection. It also comes with a money-back guarantee for any reason if you are not satisfied. How long have you been looking for a job? I've been out of work for a year, but I've only been looking for a job for about 3 weeks now. My mother had cancer, and I wanted to spend the final months with her. She passed away, and I can start working again. Why haven't you received any offers so far? I just started interviewing this past week, so it's a little too early to tell. If you don't understand your assignment and you can't reach your boss, what would you do? I would first see what the deadline is, and if my manager will be back before the deadline. If not, then I would leave a message on my manager's phone. Afterwards, I would ask my peers or other managers to see if they know the assignment. I believe investigating the assignment further will help me understand it. If everyone on the team is a veteran, what will you do to fit in and be a beneficial team member instead of a person who appears to be in training? In the beginning, I'll put a lot of effort into catching up on any existing projects I join. I believe studying a lot in the beginning to be aware of what is going on is very important. How do you intend to learn what you need to know to perform well for this job? The first couple of weeks are important. I think it's important to study the correct material, ask the right questions, and put in extra effort to learn what I need to know. This is what I usually do to make sure I'll be performing well. If your supervisor tells you to do something that you believe can be done in a different way, what would you do? I will tell my supervisor of an alternate way and explain the benefits. If my supervisor is not convinced, then I'll follow his instructions. If you're told to do something that you feel is illegal, what would you do? I would first verify if it's legal or not. If it is legal, then I would continue with the work. If it's illegal, I would not do the work and tell my manager that this work is illegal. I would also let human resources aware of the situation. If you were unfairly criticized, what would you do? I would probably ask for clarity on the criticism. I think it's important to accept criticism for self-improvement, but if it's unfair, then I will clear things up by asking for clarity. What are you looking to gain from your next job? In my next job, I want more opportunities to write automation. In my previous position, we didn't have these opportunities because we outsourced this work to other groups. What aspects of this job interest you the most? The most interesting aspect of this job is the product you're working on. I think it's so exciting working on a product that 12 million people use. I want to be on a team where my work will make many people enjoy our product more. If you're given work from your manager that is boring and tedious, what will you do? My responsibility as an employee is to help the company succeed. If the work I'm given will help the company, then I'll do the best that I can, no matter if it's boring or tedious. How long do you plan on staying with this company? As far as I can tell, this company has everything I'm looking for. I enjoy this type of work, and the benefits of this company are great. I'm looking for a long-term position, and if there are opportunities for advancement and growth here, then I want to stay for a long time. How do you explain the fact that you frequently change jobs? I see that you haven't stayed with a company for more than 2 years. I've been gaining experience and knowledge to have the minimum requirements to work for this company. My goal is to work for this company, and I'll be working here a long time because this is where I want to be. How do you explain the fact that you frequently change jobs? I see that you haven't stayed with a company for more than 2 years. I planned on staying with my current job for a longer time period, but when this position opened up, I really wanted to apply because this company has everything I need. So even though I change job frequently, I'm certain that I love this industry and that this is a great company to work for. I plan on staying a long time. Tell me about a time you had a big disagreement with your boss. What did you do, and what was the outcome? I had a disagreement with my boss on how to do an assignment. It was easy to resolve by having a discussion on the pros and cons of both methods. We didn't come to any conclusion which way was better, and I ended up performing the work the way my manager wanted. This was because, in case I couldn't finish the assignment, he could easily pick up where I left off. What do you do when there's no work to do? When I have no direct work, I always find side projects such as thinking about a process of some sort that helps with office efficiency. One time, I created a small tool using MS Word that helped our team speed up the mailing process. What do you do when there are too many things to do? I regain my composure, take a deep breath, and work diligently. If there's a chance that I might not finish something due to the size of the work item, I'll inform my manager and make sure my manager is aware of my situation. What do you do when you feel burnt out? I try and prevent burning out by maintaining a healthy, balanced life. I try to engage in personal hobbies outside of work, such as playing the guitar or going for a hike. They keep me energized to work hard in the office. But if I do feel burned out, I like to rent a movie and relax for the night. How do you manage having so many things to do, such as work, family, and school? Well, during the day while my kids are in school, I like to work. And in the evenings, we spend time together doing homework. I really enjoy being busy and managing multiple things in my life. You've been with one company your entire career. Don't you think you'll have a tough time adjusting to a new environment? I actually like being in new environments. I like to travel a lot, and even when I'm in a different country, I've always blended in smoothly. What have you heard about our company that you didn't like? I read up on this company thoroughly and even spoke with a friend who works here. I didn't hear anything negative about ABC Company. Is there something I should know before working here? Do you want to work for a small or large company, and why? I want to work for a small company because I feel I'll have more opportunities to gain valuable experience. I know some friends in large companies, and they have specific roles that limit what they're capable of doing. I'm hoping that a small company will have more variety and challenges for each employee. What do you do when you're having difficulty solving a problem? I usually take a short break. I found that this helps me think clearer, and oftentimes I end up solving the problem. What do you do when you have a problem with the direct? I believe in open communication. I always analyze the problem and then tell my direct clearly. I always provide steps that we both can take to deal with the problem. This approach helps me because it shows my respect. What do you do when you have a problem with your boss? I deal with different types of people very well, but if I have a problem that affects my work, I will openly tell my manager and the reason why it's bothering me. What do you do when you have a problem with your job? It depends on the specific problem, but in most cases, I'll face the problem that I have with my job and find a solution. If I avoid the problem, it will always be there and my work quality will decrease. So I found that solving the problems immediately helps me in the long term. What do you do when you have a problem with a coworker? If I have a problem, I try to approach my coworker and let them know as professionally as possible. If I'm the one with the problem, I'll politely ask what I can do to improve the relationship. I found that proper communication solves many problems. How do you handle conflict? Whenever I have a conflict I have to deal with, I like to follow a simple process. I first identify the problem causing the conflict, think about solutions or ideas that will solve the problem, and then try and implement a solution. Although it's very simple, it makes sure that I'm not panicking, losing my temper, or losing control of the situation, and it prevents me from rushing into a decision that might make the problem worse. Have you fired anyone? And if so, why? I've never had to fire anyone yet, but if I'm in this situation, I would follow company policy and do it professionally. What do you do when a worker is giving the team more problems than helping? I've been in this situation a couple of times. One time, we organized and distributed easier work to the worker with problems, but this is only a short-term solution. Most of the time, I end up spending a lot of time helping the person out. It might have been quicker if the rest of the team members did all the work, but I figure helping this person now will benefit us in the next project. Although this method doesn't work all the time, I really get excited when it does work. Then I know I really helped another person succeed, and this in turn helps the company. When do you know enough is enough when dealing with a subordinate that doesn't seem to be helping? I know enough is enough when I've exhausted all measures to help this employee grow. I would do my part by providing encouragement, giving extra instructions, mentoring, and giving different types of work. If I exhaust all these steps, then I know I can't do anything further, and that is when enough is enough. Do you like to work by yourself or with others? That's a tough question. I like the combination of the two. It's great working in teams while getting and sharing ideas with each other, but it's also nice to sit at your desk and work hard productively. I like to do both, so it's hard to choose one over the other. How do you get along with your coworkers? I've always had an easy time getting along with different types of people, so I never had a problem getting along with my coworkers. I consider many of them my friends. Do you have any physical problems that may limit your ability to perform this job? No, I believe I'll be able to physically perform all tasks for this position. What do you do to stay in shape? I play for a co-ed softball team. It's fun and it gives me a little exercise. What do you like to do when you're not in the office? When I'm not in the office, I like to play golf, read magazines, and spend time with my wife. What's the most recent book you read? I just finished The Runaway Jury by John Grisham. I find all of his books very entertaining. What's the most recent movie you saw? The last movie I saw was The Last Samurai. I thought it was great. Did you have any trouble finding this place? No problem at all. I checked for directions on the internet and found it pretty easily. Will working on weekends be a problem? It shouldn't be a problem at all. I frequently worked on weekends in my other position, especially during tax season. How often is weekend work required here on average? How do you feel about overtime? I don't mind working overtime at all. I know during busy times, people are expected to work more, and I'm flexible with my hours, so I won't have a problem. Have you ever filed for bankruptcy? No, I'm very responsible with money, and I have great credit. Do you own or rent your home? I own my house. Do you have any outside income? I get paid child support from my ex-husband. Do you earn any income from investments or hobbies? I have a savings account that I earn a little extra income from. Are you able to make frequent business trips? I don't have any problems with traveling. Are you willing to relocate? I love change and would definitely be willing to relocate. May I contact your references? Sure. After the interview, I can email or fax you a list of references. Will that be okay? Is there anything else I should know? One final trait that I have that would be perfect for this position is my organizational skills. I'm very detailed and plan very well. What kind of salary are you looking for? I'm expecting somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000. How much do you currently get paid? I was paid $50,000 a year plus an 8% bonus. When are you able to start? I'll be able to start as early as next Monday. Are you considering any other offers right now? I was considering an offer I received last week, but I don't think I'll be accepting that position. Are you a risk taker, or do you like to stay away from risks? I consider myself to be in the middle,
but if I were to choose from my past experience, I would think I would call myself a careful risk taker. Are you an organized person? Organization has always come easy to me. I naturally organize things like my desk, time, assignments, and work without thinking about them. This helps me tremendously during times when I'm approaching a deadline. Which category do you fall under? A person who anticipates a problem well, or a person who reacts to a problem well? I think it's good to be good at both, but in my experience, I realized I react to problems better. Whenever I'm faced with a new problem, I know what steps to take to deal with the problem. Do you manage your time well? I know I manage my time well because I'm never late to work and I've never missed a deadline. Do you work well under pressure? I work well under pressure because I use the pressure to help me work more efficiently. How do you handle change? I handle changes smoothly. Whenever there's a change of any sort, I analyze the situation and I always try to find ways I can contribute to the change in a positive way. If you could change one thing about your personality, what would it be and why? I would like to be more of a risk taker. I always do my work and complete it at an exceptional level, but sometimes taking a risk can make the work even better. I'm working on this by thinking the issue through and weighing the pros and cons. Tell me a little about yourself. I grew up in Korea and studied accounting. I worked at an accounting firm for 2 years, and I enjoy bicycling and jogging.
Tell me about a time you failed to complete an assignment on time. With proper planning and good execution, I think it's hard to fail at meeting a deadline. But I remember one time in the middle of a project, our clients wanted to change one aspect of the assignment that we already completed. I analyzed the change request and told them that we wouldn't be able to make the date. I estimated that it would take 3 additional days. They insisted that we finish on the agreed upon time schedule. I told them we'd try, but we couldn't promise anything. Even with hard work and overtime, we missed the due date. We did, however, finish 1 day late. In this situation, where I didn't feel we could reach the deadline, I specifically told them that we couldn't. I continually sent updates on the progress to keep the clients informed. Since we missed the deadline, they were not too happy, but overall they were satisfied because I effectively communicated the progress regularly. Tell me about a time you hired someone. I received a resume, but it didn't have all our requirements. I initially thought she wasn't a fit, but after looking over the education background and the previous work experience, I thought this person would have more potential than other candidates. After interviewing her, we extended an offer. She was a quick learner and performed at an exceptional level. Sometimes it's important to see potential, and in this instance, it was a great hire. Tell me about a time you made a poor decision. In my first month working at Tiffany's selling jewelry, I made a poor decision by making an assumption. A person buying an engagement diamond wanted to see some rings. It's not polite to immediately ask for a price range, so I showed the person a variety of rings. He pointed to a ring that was about $12,000. The diamond ring he pointed to was one of the more expensive ones I showed him. Eager to sell him the ring, I explained the quality of the ring, explained our satisfaction guarantee policy to him, and made sure he was comfortable with making a purchase at Tiffany's. He bought the ring, and I thought I made a great sell. However, it turns out that on my day off, he came in and exchanged the ring for one that was $25,000. It was one of the rings that I didn't show him. So basically, I made a bad decision on selling him what he first pointed out instead of showing him more options. I assumed that the initial ring he selected was the price range he was looking for. I never made that mistake again, and I learned that I shouldn't assume so much. What are your short-term goals? As a program manager, it's important to understand all areas of the project. Although I have the technical abilities to be successful in my job, I want to learn different software applications that might help in work efficiency. What are your weaknesses? I feel my English ability is my weakest trait. I know this is only a temporary problem. I'm definitely studying hard to communicate more effectively. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Although I really enjoy working hands-on as a mechanical engineer, I want to eventually become a manager. I want to continue gaining experience, and after learning many different aspects, I see myself in management.
What does success mean to you? Success means to produce high-quality work before the deadline. What extracurricular activities were you involved in?
I was involved with a group that helped awareness of environmental problems such as pollution. I was on a team that educated people about driving alternatives such as buses and carpooling.
Why did you choose your major?
I majored in history because I enjoyed learning about the past. I always try to apply my history knowledge in many things I do. This knowledge allowed me to study many different experiences.
If you redo college again, what would you major in?
If I were to redo college again, I don't think I would change my major. I like the fact that I majored in business, and I believe it will help me with my career. I'm pretty good with the computer, but I would like to have taken more computer classes. Because technology is growing so quickly, I think I would have benefited from having a deeper understanding in computers.
What course did you like the most?
I really enjoyed an English writing class I took. This class taught me to write more clearly and concisely.
What course did you like the least?
My least favorite class was probably poetry. During that course, I struggled writing a real poem. I realized I am not a poet. How will your performance in your worst class affect your performance on this job? I had one class where I really struggled. I asked more questions and studied more. As a result, I did very well. So even if I'm struggling, I feel I can find ways to do a good job by putting in more effort.
How would your best friend describe you?
I think my best friend would say that I'm very responsible. Whenever our group of friends had to coordinate an activity, they always relied on me.
How would your mother describe you?
Since I was the oldest out of 3, I think my mother would describe me as responsible and someone who is looked to for answers. Why are you applying for a job that you didn't major in?
I enjoyed majoring in psychology, but I didn't want to become a psychologist. I just found the subject to be very interesting. It also helped me to understand a wide variety of things. For my career, I wanted to be doing something I was good at and what I enjoyed doing. I had an opportunity to work at a smaller logistics company as an administrative assistant. During that time period, they were short-handed and I actually got to do some planning and organizing for one of the smaller clients. I didn't lead anything, but I realized how much I enjoyed the work. Ever since then, I have been studying up on planning, logistics, and business.